Knife sparring is one of my favorite activities. It is both cooperative and competitive. It is creative. It is an opportunity to experiment, and it is a very good drill for teaching range, timing, coordination, hand speed, and all sorts of combative attributes. This does not mean I expect to get in a knife-to-knife confrontation. However, as somebody who carries a knife as a cutting tool on a daily basis, if someone was to attack me with a knife, there's a pretty good chance that would turn into a knife-to-knife confrontation once I got my knife out. The knife is one of the most common assault weapons in Canada, and there have been quite a few knife assaults in my community over the years. Victims of edged weapons violence in my community are quite often those who live in the most at-risk part of our culture, in the most at-risk community. However, knife violence can happen to just about anyone if you are in the wrong place at the wrong time and did not have the opportunity to disengage or get away. When it comes to edged weapons violence, I would always choose to run if that opportunity presented itself, and if I didn't have someone I had to protect, or I didn't think that the person who was threatening me with the knife was faster than me. Because, running's great, but getting stabbed in the back while you're running is not good tactics. However, let's be honest, this training for knife dueling is not representative of what knife violence is, but different skills that we're using in there could help us survive a knife assault. But this has very little to do with training for knife assaults, training for knife defense. This has more to do with building attributes in sparring and fighting that can be transferable to dealing with real violence. The hand-eye coordination, the speed, the timing, all of that you get from these drills, from this drill, knife sparring, is very valuable. And while I know this doesn't look like real violence, it is us training. It is us having fun. It is playful and fun. But it does have a really good place when it comes to training edged weapons. It does have a really good place when it comes to training neuroplasticity. In fact, I will say this. I believe that the adaptive nature of this type of training is one of the best ways to keep the mind young and active, even if the body's starting to fail. And this is something I can do into my old age, because I can't spar hard when it comes to pugilism nowadays, but I can do this for a long, long time. And the injuries and the strains are minimal. And as you see, we clinch, we go to close range, we work from long range into close range and clinch and try and get control of that knife arm so we can do a coup de grace, a throat slash, or multiple stabs to the torso, throat, and vital areas. And the other thing we get in this is the ability to adapt and train to counter knife assaults empty-handed, because I promise you that occasionally a knife gets dropped and the switched on training partner will go very aggressively at the person who just dropped their knife, or the person who dropped the knife will automatically enter very aggressively against the person with the knife to try and get control of the knife hand, or even disarm the knife, or do multiple strikes that, while we'll be doing them controlled in this kind of training, we would be doing them full on and hopefully being able to overwhelm the knife wielder before they get too many potentially lethal stabs and slashes on us. The more bodies you can spar with, the more people you can get together with and train this way, the better your training will be, because people have different cadences different reaches, different abilities, and you will find that some people are really hard to spar with, some people you can time easily. It's just a matter of who you're training with and how they move and how they mesh with you. This type of training builds trust and camaraderie. It is a great way to have fun with friends and still remain playful as an adult. A lot of adults have trouble with playing, and honestly, if you look at the natural world, playing is education. Playing is the way animals teach each other how to move, how to fight, how to hunt. It is something that is forgotten in older humans, but children do it instinctively. We should hold on to it because it is an important part of our nature, and it is a great way to learn, a great way to develop, and one of the best ways to gain trust with other people. If you enjoy content like this and want to look further into knife combatives and other combatives, please support my Patreon.